Hey, happy Monday to everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Well, let's get into this. Welcome to Fargo, North Dakota, which is a video that I'm fairly sure some of you have been waiting on as I've been making these trips around the northern plains, North and South Dakota, namely. So yeah, let's talk about Fargo for a little bit here. So go ahead, buckle in. Hope you got your favorite snacks, all that good stuff, because we about to take a ride through the city of Fargo. So Fargo, North Dakota is located in Cass County. It is located by Moorshead, Minnesota, i.e. the Minnesota state line. It is the largest city in the state, located by the Minnesota state line on the Red River. The population here is 125,000 people and 990 people. The population has grown at a rate of 19.4% as of the 2020 census, and as of last year, 2022, the population has grown by an additional 4.3%. increasing the city's population to 131,444 people. So this city is a rapidly growing city. I mean, don't sleep on Fargo now. Don't sleep on this city. This city, is growing. It's doing things. Now, Fargo was founded in 1871. The city was named after Wells Fargo, the Northern Pacific Railway director, and William Fargo, the express company founder. And yes, I am talking about the very same family who owns Wells Fargo, the financial institution, the institution that many of you pay your mortgage to and your car notes to. So Fargo was known as the divorce capital of the Midwest due to the lenient divorce laws. Now the city later lost this title due to the changes of the law. Now when they talk about the lenient divorce laws, now that I have to think about it, I'm thinking, what do they mean by lenient divorce laws? Was it in favor of the men or was it in favor of the women? I'm going to say it was probably in favor of the men, which is why they changed the laws. But let's keep going. Fargo began to grow rapidly after World War II. Despite the F5 tornado in 1957 that destroyed the northern end of the city's been growing since the 1890 census. In 1890, the population here was 2,693 people. And as of the 1900 census, from 1890 to 1900 census, the city has grown by a whopping 110%, bringing the city population up to 5,664 people during the 1900 census. Most of the growth has occurred in the southwest part of Fargo and West Fargo, both in the business sector as well as in the residential communities. Now, I do got a video on this channel of West Fargo, so feel free to go back and watch that video. Now, downtown has underwent recent gentrification as well. I mean, once I get to driving downtown a little more here, which you guys will see in a little bit, you'll notice that there's been a lot of remodeling of many of the buildings. For those of you that may have remembered Fargo from back in the day, some of you may not recognize Fargo today, due to the gentrification that it has underwent. And North Dakota State University has become a major research university, providing a large number of employment opportunities, which, you know, North Dakota University is not far from downtown Fargo. In fact, some people would say it is in downtown Fargo. Now, Fargo has become a technology and healthcare hub due to Microsoft and Stanford Health being located in the city center, which fairly shown in this video, you will see the Microsoft building down here. Now, unemployment has been one of the lowest in the nation since the late 90s, as well as the city's crime rate. The violent crime is only 17% above national average, which for a major city, that's fairly low when it comes to violent crime. I mean, just to give you guys a small example of what I'm talking about, for those of you that are, I don't know, for those of you that got your head in the sand when it comes to the reality of the crimes that go on in many of your larger cities, even your mid-sized cities, the crime numbers that they've reported here in Fargo, take those crime numbers and I would say take those crime numbers and 10 times it, and that will give you an accurate description of what the crime rate is in a city like, let's say, Birmingham, Alabama. Now, your property crime is only at 21% above national average. So in fact, let me look up something real quick since we're talking about crime. Something real quick, I'm just curious. Second here, people. Acting a little slow. Like when it comes to violent crime, I mean, let me think here. Skip that, because while I was hoping I would find, I could not find, so we're going to keep pushing. So yeah, just understand that although the violent crime and the property crime numbers are a little above the national average here in Fargo, understand those numbers are a lot lower than the crime numbers that you're going to find in many other major cities throughout the United States. So let's keep going. Fargo was ranked as one of the most livable cities in the U.S. during the 1990s and 2000s. Now, I would say that is objective. I'm gonna say that's subjective. I'm not saying anything bad about Fargo. I'm just saying that right there could be objective. It depends on what you consider livable. Now, since we're talking about livability, let's talk about the climate here in Fargo. Now, if you've been watching my channel for the last month or so, I've been putting out videos almost on a daily basis about North or South Dakota. And I have talked about the climate on many of my videos. But since we're doing Fargo, and for some people this may be the only video that they watch of North Dakota, so let's discuss the climate. Now here in Fargo, North Dakota, the climate, now for starters, the summer times for the most part are going to be relatively mild, meaning for the most part your temperatures are not going to go much above the mid 80s. And for the most part, the humidity here is not going to be all that bad. I mean, the humidity here is going to be much lower than many of your states that are located further east. And another good point about Fargo is, another good point about Fargo, along with most of North Dakota, is during the summer months, your daylight your hours of daylight are going to be a little longer too than states that are further east. Like, for an example, I'm in Alabama. That's where I live right now. And typically here in Alabama, the sun will start to come out around 5:30-ish in the morning. The sun will start to come out around 5:30-ish in the morning. And the sun I would say by around 7:30-ish, the sun is already down. It's already dark. So I would say during the summer months here in Alabama. Now, granted, here in Alabama, if you ask some of us, we would tell you that summertime here in Alabama is a good 8 months out of the year. But anyways, during June, July, and August, the sun typically will come out around 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. And the sun will set at around 7:30-ish in the evening. And that would be Central Time. Now, Fargo is also on Central Time. So, up in Fargo, the sun might start to come out around, I'm going to say around 5:30-ish. However, in Fargo, the sun will stay out. It's not going to get dark in Fargo until around 10 o'clock at night. Like I was saying, Fargo, for the month of June and most of July, it's not going to get dark until around 10. And then as the summer months go by, like around this time of the year, around August, even in August, right now, up in Fargo, it doesn't get dark until around, I'm going to say, between 9 to 9:30 at night. So from 5:30-ish in the morning to 9:30-ish at night, you got sunlight. So the sunlight during the summer months up here in Fargo are going to be longer than many of your cities further east. Now for the and of course during the summer months, you'll have anywhere from a few days to a week to about a week to where the temperatures will rise up above 90. I mean, the temperatures during that time of the year, typically this is going to happen sometime in July. You'll have you'll have several days in a row to where the temperatures will go into the 90s and into the triple digits, and the humidity level will be higher than typical. But even with that, the summer times up here are still a lot more bearable than summer times in many of your places further east, in my opinion. Now for the bad. Well, this should go without saying. This is North Dakota. So if you're the kind of person that you hate snow, you hate cold weather, you just despise it, don't move up here. I'm going to tell you straight up, do not move up here. Don't move anywhere in North Dakota. Because here in Fargo, it gets very cold. Like, this is going to be one of the coldest, largest cities that you're going to have in the United States. I mean, up here, they get some of the worst winters up here. Some of the harshest winters up here. Like, in fact, let me pull up my little thing on my phone here. That way I can give you guys some specifics when it comes to climate. I mean, I can tell you freestyle, but I'm gonna give you guys some specifics. I'm gonna give you guys some numbers. Fargo, North Dakota, Wikipedia. All right, give me a second, folks. Alrighty, folks. According to Wikipedia, let's see. The average high, which will happen in the month of July, is going to be 82 degrees. Like I told you, there's going to be times during July where the temperatures are going to get into the mid 90s and into the triple digits. Folks, your average low, well, the lowest is going to be in January. The temperatures, by the way, are Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit in January, your average low is going to basically be 0. But let me tell you guys something. I would say during the month of January, there's going to be a lot of days in January and February. I would say in January and February, in parts of March and December, there's going to be days to where 0 might be all you're going to get for the high. There's going to be days to where you're going to wake up and your temperature in Fahrenheit is going to be negative 30 some degrees, even all the way down to negative 40 some degrees. And then when you add the wind chill is going to be in the negative 80s, in the negative 70s. And that's going to be typical for your winters up here in Fargo. I would say from late December, January, February, and I would say even into March, you're going to have several days to where the temperatures are going to, you're going to wake up. The temperatures are going to be negative 20 some, negative 30 some degrees in the morning. And then during the day when the temperatures warm up, it will warm up to maybe -10, or if you're lucky, it will warm up to something in the positives, like maybe 5 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it comes to, let's see, and each year, on average here in Fargo, they typically get about 24 inches of rain. So it does not rain a whole lot up here in Fargo. The rain average for the United States is like 38 inches. Here in Fargo, on average, they only get 24 inches. However, when it comes to your snow, each year they get 51 inches of snow. They get about 51.5 inches of snow in Fargo. And typically, now according to Wikipedia, it doesn't snow from May to September. It doesn't snow. Now again, I've spoke to a few locals here in Fargo, and many of the locals here tell me that there's only 2 months out of the year that you're guaranteed to have no snow, and that is going to be July and August. So apparently in Fargo it does snow in May. It has been known to snow in June, and it has been known to snow in September, according to some of the locals here in Fargo. And the snowiest month out of the year, it is going to be in, looks like it's going to be in December. So yeah, the snowiest months out of the year are going to be in December and January. So the snowfall here, at least according to Wikipedia, the snowfall here isn't too bad. I mean, 50 inches a year, I mean, I wouldn't want to live anywhere where they got snow like that, but you know, taking into consideration that this is North Dakota, I guess 50 some inches of snow a year is not the worst. I mean, there's places in western North Dakota, and yeah, there's places further west that actually get more snow than what they get here in Fargo. So now, let's see here. Let's look at the days of sunlight, because I know for many people this days of sunlight is important, because I know for me, I wouldn't want to live somewhere where there's not a whole lot of sunlight. Like for an example, I would go absolutely crazy during the wintertime if I had to live in Alaska, where during the wintertime it's dark most of the day. That I would go crazy. I would probably go into a deep depression due to a lack of sunlight, due to that lack of vitamin D that most people like myself are deficient in the first place due to our darker skin. Let's see, where's sunlight at? Okay, here we go. Oh no, that's snow. Alright people, I'm looking for the days of sun. Trouble locating here. Okay, I'm going to have to go somewhere else and look that up. Days of sunlight in Fargo, North Dakota.
Here's information from.
Okay, so apparently in Fargo, they average 197 days of sunlight per year, which ain't bad. So on those days you wake up and it be 35 below zero, you'll wake up, be nice and sunny. The sun be so bright that it will practically blind you. But then when you step outside, it be negative 35 degrees. Yeah, welcome to North Dakota. And yes, it'd be like that in North Dakota. So yeah, you get 197 days average of sunlight here in Fargo. So that's going to be the climate for Fargo. So if you want to live up here in Fargo, just bear that in mind. It is, the winters up here are going to be long and very cold. And at times it's going to be downright harsh. So yeah, I can't emphasize enough. If you come up here during this time of the year where the temperatures are nice and warm, the humidity is not crazy, and you fall in love with this city, oh man, thank God I'm not in Florida no more. I don't gotta deal with high humidity and temperatures in the triple digits on a regular. Thank God. You're moving up here to Fargo because maybe you're tired of all the riffraff over in California. Just bear in mind, summer times up here in Fargo are short-lived. They're nice, but they're short-lived. Winters, on the other hand, are brutal and they're long. So just bear that in mind if you're going to move here to Fargo. Now, if you can deal with the long, harsh winters here in Fargo, you don't mind living in a metro area that is a little smaller than most metro areas in the United States. Fargo's economy, Fargo has a fairly decent economy. Now, Fargo's economy used to depend primarily on agriculture, but today the city's economy has, but today the city has a diverse economy. The largest industries in the city are going to be food processing. So they got food processing plants here. There's a fair amount of manufacturing jobs. If you have your college degree in education, you can work in the education sector. You also got technology for all you tech folks with their STEM degrees. And of course you got retail, and you also got healthcare. So for those of you that work in tech, you don't have to move. You don't have to move to California if you don't want to make that money. Here to Fargo, like I said, if you don't mind cold weather, you can come up here to Fargo and land you a job in tech and make some good money. And get to the cost of living up here later. Now, as far as things to do here in Fargo, you got the Fargo Theater that shows first run movies, and the theater also hosts film festivals. You got the Fargo Dome that holds concerts, musicals, and dance performances, sporting events, and fairs. You also got the Plains Art Museum, the largest museum in the state of North Dakota. You got Fargo Air Museum. You got the Murray Wills Museum. The admission is free, apparently. And this museum is in honor of Murray Wills, a 1962 National League and Major League Baseball player and a former Red Hawks coach and radio analyst. You also got the Roger Maris Museum, which also has free admission, And the museum is in honor of Roger Maris, a former New York Yankee player who lived in Fargo for a portion of his life. They don't give any specifics of when. And you got the Main Avenue Theater that hosts live performances, that hosts live productions. And you got the Trowwood Performing Arts School for those of you that are into that kind of stuff. Or maybe you might want to get your children into that kind of stuff and just kind of keep them occupied and out of trouble and off the streets. Not that Fargo is dangerous like that, but you know, danger looms anywhere and everywhere out here looking. But anyways, as far as it goes for some of the attractions here in Fargo, you got the North Dakota Horse Park that has live racing and betting is held here as well. So you can bet on the horses. I mean, it's kind of like North Dakota's version of Churchill Downs in Louisville. You also got the Fargo Outdoor Skate Park. And of course, you got all the shopping that you can stand. And there's plenty of restaurants that you can go and eat at, like you have in most other cities. As far as some of the sport teams here, now there's no national teams here in Fargo, but you got the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks baseball. You also got the Fargo Forest hockey team. If you're into golfing, you got the Edgewood Fargo Country Club, Rose Creek, the Prairie Wood, and the Osgood golf courses. Those are all golf courses that I just named off. And as far as it goes for some of the city's infrastructure, I mean, you know, this city's got decent infrastructure, I think. I mean, it's decent. I mean, you got Hector International Airport. You got the MAT bus, which is, it's called MAT bus, M-A-T-B-U-S. It's called MAT bus, which is the Fargo Moorhead Metro bus system. I mean, basically, it goes through the city of Fargo and it goes into Moorshead, Minnesota. It's the city bus system. You also got the BNSF Railway that runs through the metro area, the Fargo Moorhead metro area. And of course, you got Interstate 29 and Interstate 94 that services the Fargo metro area. You also got U.S. Highways 81 and 10 and 52 as well that services the general Fargo area. And some of you, well, you know what, I got a little surprise for some of you, and I'm going to read that in a second here. But first, let's get to some basic information about Fargo. So everything I've read so far, if you're impressed, you still want to move here. If you want to live here in Fargo, the median rent prices are going to go from $660 to $1,620 a month. If you're looking to own, the median home prices are $280,000. Now there's plenty of homes that you can purchase here in Fargo for far lower than $280,000. Now I would say to buy anything decent right now here in Fargo, you're going to be looking at least $200,000. And for $200,000, you're not getting nothing special. I'm going to tell that right now. In fact, the neighborhood I'm driving through right now, you're not getting none of one of these houses for $200,000. I would say this particular neighborhood I'm driving through right now, the average house around here is going to go for at least $300,000. And as far as it goes for the racial demographics, you got 84.5% white. Oh, let's talk about the housing for just one more second. Now, as far as what you get for $200,000 here in Fargo, basically you're going to be in the older section of the city where the houses are smaller and they're going to be a little closer in together than what they are out here. Now let's talk about the racial demographics. You got 84.5% white, you got 5.4% black, 3.5% Asian, 1.1% Native American, and 2.8% Hispanic. And here's one little piece of information about Fargo, which I don't think a lot of people realize about Fargo. I mean, when I tell people, like, I remember before I left to make this trip up here to North and South Dakota, I told a few people that I was going to take a trip to the Dakotas, and then people were referring to the Fargo movie. You know, man, I like to go to Fargo. It seems like a nice little city. Well, for those of you that have actually watched the Fargo movie, and then you've watched videos like mine to where I drive through the city of Fargo, as I'm doing right now, some of you might realize that there's a slight difference between the Fargo that was on the movie, that was on the TV series Fargo, versus the Fargo that you guys see right now. And there's a reason for that. The TV series Fargo was not recorded in Fargo. It was not recorded anywhere near Fargo. The TV series Fargo that came out in 2014 was actually recorded in Calgary, Alberta. So that TV series was recorded in Canada. It wasn't even recorded in the United States. So the next time that you tell somebody that you want to go to Fargo, North Dakota, and they talk about the TV series Fargo, do yourself a favor. Don't waste your time and sit down and watch Fargo and think when you get done watching a show of Fargo, you're going to know a thing or two about Fargo, North Dakota, because you're not. Because the show wasn't even recorded in the city of Fargo. It was recorded in Alberta. So, yeah. Anyways. So here's my 2 cents about Fargo. Now, I think for those who are looking to live in a city that has at least most of the larger city amenities and a solid economy with a combination of relatively low crime, safe and clean streets, a decent downtown, and a few things to do, I would say if you're looking for that, Fargo could be your next home. I would consider Fargo a solid place for someone to call home. Now, granted, Fargo is not gonna be like Chicago when it comes to the entertainment. It's not gonna be Chicago. It's not even gonna be Cleveland, Ohio. So if you're the kind of person that you always got to be entertained. You prefer the larger entertainment scene. Fargo is probably not going to be your cup of tea. You're going to probably be miserable here in Fargo. But if you're the kind of person, kind of like myself, that if you had to live in a larger city for whatever reason, maybe because of work or because you got family close by or whatever the case might be, and you didn't mind dealing with some colder weather, as I've discussed earlier, I would say Fargo would be a solid place to consider home. I don't mean to put shade on Fargo, but in my opinion, when I look at what Fargo has to offer, I personally could think of some cities that would have everything that Fargo has, and some, and the housing prices would actually be a little cheaper. Now, call me biased. I don't care. It is what it is. But I'm gonna let you all know how I feel. But I would say a city like Fort Wayne, Indiana, in my opinion, would be a far better option for me than to live up here in Fargo. Because to me, when it comes to the entertainment, Fort Wayne actually has more going for itself than Fargo. When it comes to the economy in Fort Wayne, I don't do tech and I don't do healthcare. So for me, when it comes to the economy in Fargo, Fort Wayne's economy is equally as strong as it is up here in Fargo. And crime in Fort Wayne might be a little higher compared to Fargo, but all in all, crime in Fort Wayne is not that bad. Hopefully it stays like that. Hopefully it doesn't get like Indianapolis. But as it stands for right now, me personally, and also one thing that Fort Wayne has on Fargo is Fort Wayne also has more affordable housing than Fargo. Because like for an example, what I would have to pay $200,000 for here in Fargo, I can go to Fort Wayne in a identical neighborhood and buy that same house for, I would say, 120. So for not to mention that up in Fort Wayne, it doesn't get near as cold as it gets up here. So I would say for me, if I had to move to a larger city, Fargo wouldn't be my city. I would probably move to a city more like Fort Wayne. Now, for those of you that desire to live somewhere in the Northern Plains, I would say if you're gonna come up here and check out Fargo, now if you're gonna move to Fargo for a specific reason, such as a job, such as family, okay, I get it, I got it, do what you do. I think Fargo, for many of you, would be a wonderful place to call home. But if you're just looking for a better place to move because you're fed up with your current city for whatever reason, and you're looking at Fargo as a place to possibly move to, I would say, yeah, go ahead, come up to Fargo, check it out. You might like it. And even if you do like it, I would also suggest that you drive 3.5 hours south on Interstate 29 and you check out Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls is a little bigger than Fargo. Sioux Falls has a little over 200,000 people. And when it comes to entertainment, Sioux Falls actually has a little more to do than Fargo. And when it comes to the climate, yeah, it's going to be cold as hell in Sioux Falls too, but not quite as bad as Fargo. And I would say Sioux Falls being located in South Dakota, you're gonna be. I would say before buying anything here in Fargo, I think it would be worth your while to drive that 3.5 hours south and drive into Sioux Falls and check out Sioux Falls and see how you feel about Sioux Falls. And I don't got my notes in front of me about Sioux Falls, but if I can remember correctly, the housing price, the average, the median home prices in Sioux Falls are, you know what, let me check that out. You know what? Let's see here. And you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you guys like this. Before moving here to Fargo, go to Sioux Falls, go check it out. Now, I have already made a video on Sioux Falls, so feel free to go on this channel and watch my Sioux Falls video. And if you choose to watch my Sioux Falls video, on that video, you will learn the average housing prices and what's available in Sioux Falls. So go on my channel, go check out my Sioux Falls video. If you're coming here to Fargo to visit, I would suggest that you go and you visit Sioux Falls too, because you might decide, you know what, I'd rather be in Sioux Falls and Fargo. Or maybe you'll visit Fargo, you'll visit Sioux Falls, and you may still desire to be in Fargo, which is perfectly okay as well. I'm just giving out some suggestions just to get the most out of your trip to the Great Plains if you're going to come up this way. Now, another city which you might want to visit as well, which is an hour and 30 minutes north of here, would be Grand Forks. Now, Grand Forks is a lot smaller than Fargo or Sioux Falls. Grand Forks has only got a little under 60,000 people. So for some of you that may not want to live even in a city the size of Fargo, maybe you're looking for something a little smaller, but still some larger city amenities. Another city that you might want to check out while you're this way is you might want to go check out Grand Forks. Now, I got a video of Grand Forks on this channel, so again, feel free to go on my channel here and watch my Grand Forks video. Or, like I said, Grand Forks is an hour and 13 minutes north of Fargo. Alright folks, that's all I gotta say on this one. So go ahead and smash the, go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed at this point, because I will be putting out a lot more videos. And I was going to tell you, and my mind went completely blank. Well, anyhow, just enjoy the rest of this video. Until next time, have a blessed one. Walmart, Fargo, North Dakota.